Okay.
One of the things about Kutztown, in terms of like it being unique, something to consider. In this town, it's possible for you to find skilled small business contractors to do all the work you need done. Carpenters, electricians, plumbers. We personally have a list of people that are small businesses, small truck, that come in and get the things done that we want done. The place is filled with skilled individuals in the trades, even for financial advice, insurance. You can go in the local small store office and get the things you want. A lot of things around the house we live in have been done by small contractors versus calling big companies. Even getting a contractor, like we have a plumber that will go to the big businesses and get the equipment we need at his cost and then put it in for us. I think that's an important thing to consider. I think this area has a wealth of that, and then also the Mennonites that are skilled. We actually have Mennonites that do our lawn service. I think that's something unique. As a child growing up, my father was a craftsman. So in the neighborhood, he and other people that lived in the neighborhood would do all the local work. My dad, my uncle, and I did concrete for people, patios, steps, and things like that, at a rate they could afford, simply because my father and uncle had that skill. So I think that's a really important thing. And it's found by word of mouth. I knew a guy that was small business. He did carpentry and different things like that. The need arose that we needed a plumber, and he goes, well, you should get this guy. And the price and everything is just wonderful, and the work is fine. So I think that's a Kutztown tradition. The Votech carries that on. One of the few schools I've ever seen that still has an ag program attached to it. And I do remember the day that they were talking about cutting the ag program, and the number of local farmers and craftsmen that showed up at the school board and said, what are you doing? That's how we were educated. So I think that's a texture not to forget in this town. When I first came to the university, they had a set of carpenters. Instead of purchasing things like bookshelves, the carpenters would come and put them in your office, build whatever you needed built. They had a group of men that maintained all the shrubbery and things, and they were local guys. This is a great story too. There was a janitor in charge of Beakey Building, where my office was. And he was the evening janitor that did all the cleaning, along with a woman whose name I can't remember. But you'd be sitting in your office waiting for your night class, and you hear this beautiful classical music. This guy was a really skilled pianist, and during his break he'd play for us. And that just always, and it's a great story, it always fascinated me. On the weekends he played in some local band. But here's this guy, and I asked him about it, and he said when he was a kid, his mother was a pianist, and the neighbor gave lessons, and it caught on for him. And I always valued that. And these carpenters coming in and talking to you personally about building something for your office. If you go to, it's 106, I think, was my office number in Beakey. There's this beautiful, beautiful bookshelf that runs from one end to the other. And I had a table that I wanted to use as a desk, so they put a cutout. And all that's still there. And then with changes in state funding and everything, they did away with all that. And now you get metal government things, and I think that texture's lost. My one take on Kutztown University, I've been to all of the campuses except for one, and it's simply the most beautiful one. And I always, when I was younger, attributed that to the staff of people that would take care of the place like it was theirs. You still get that feeling.
Right.
Even here, like this is an interesting thing. So we're selling the ornaments, and Ethel is making sure we have a table and a cart, like personally, rather than filling out a form and the cart's laying on the ground. Ethel, part of the evening janitor staff, made sure the table was there and a cart. She said, you need a cart. And you can still talk here.
It's more a feeling of a big family than a bunch of workers with specific tasks. Obviously, it's both, but the feeling of happy to help each other. It's awesome. It's great.
And even in the neighborhood we live in, that's a lot of people that have come from out of town. You still You see someone at the mailbox, picking up their mail, and if you're out, everybody stops and talks. Like
Yeah.
Joe and Scott and I are talking all the time, and when our neighbor needs something, he moved from the Bronx to here. And he and his wife were born in New York City, so they moved to the countryside. How's this work? So he's immediately using big contractors, and two of us walked over and said, hey, look, you can use these guys. And he was so happy. He was from an Italian neighborhood where all that stuff took place, but he felt like he had to go with the big box businesses. And it's still nice. In our neighborhood, we have at least 3 get-togethers during the summer. And I know wherever I've lived in this town, it kind of worked that way. You have a backyard and other people will come. People just drift over, mow the lawn, turn the lawnmower off. Haven't seen you in a while. That aspect of small town, I think, is important, and it's really vibrant here. The other night I went to a sports contest, a girls' basketball game, and 3 people that knew me just sat down to say hi and talk for a while. Then they went on their way. And a former physical education softball teacher here, I only ever see her walking, waving, so she walked over and sat down for a while because we realized we hadn't talked in a year. Then she went back to her seat. There's always a good conversation to be had. Farmers market is central to that, very vibrant. And in my town, growing up, we bought everything there. My grandmother, I was the oldest, I'd have to take my grandmother to the market on Thursdays or Fridays, depending upon when she wanted to go. And half of the time was spent her talking to her friends while I'm a teenager wishing I was somewhere else. That's still the case here. If you go to the farmer's market on a Friday and go behind the little restaurant they have there, you'll see the same 5 or 6 guys sitting there all the time. And they're last of the old Dutchies. The one guy only speaks in Pennsylvania German because that's what he's comfortable in. I don't think we want to lose that texture. And it persists. If I had a concern about Kutztown, it is that we need young people to come and live here. The population is aging in some sense. I'm optimistic. Our neighborhood at first had 2 children, our daughter and one other. Now it's populated with young families that have moved in. And there's a ton of kids.
And they also, because of the school reputation, so without us telling, come here, they already knew, that's why they moved here. So, and they come from like all over the country, and they work Allentown, but they choose Kutztown for the schools. So
Yeah.
that's a big plus.
That's the other thing that you can add in is, what would I tell someone about Kutztown, where you're located? Like for this guy, Joe, he didn't know there was a bus that he could go to Manhattan in if he chooses, or friends could come over. The idea across the street from us, a doctor, husband and wife, doctor and a nurse. She works at a hospital in Allentown, and his practice is in Reading, so they live there. Several people that way. Retired people who move there because they're centrally located to their kids. You can talk to some of the businesses in town that say, the one business is Betty's, they actually are from Bethlehem. They put a business there, and their clientele are people that go from Allentown to Reading for different things and will stop in town to eat. The other issue is some of the ancient buildings and what they were in this place that still exist. The original Saucony Shoe Company. I told the kids about that. The company that makes Saucony shoes, the running shoes, that started here in Kutztown. The building is still here.
Talking about new young adult moving back to Kutztown or moving to Kutztown, the inn is taken over by a young family, very vibrant people, and there's also Kat, who has this artsy
And
space.
they're from families
that were friends.
that lived
they
here
grew
for
up
years.
here.
Yeah.
But those people I consider very vibrant. They just sit that way, and nice people. So it's exciting. We don't see them a whole lot because again we're busy, but it's a highlight to me. But I think ideal community is kids connecting with adult and third age, senior people, all beautiful melting pot. And I see that happening more and more. That's me giving the tone, again, from my point of view, but I just see it. It's really happening, so it's the key element to have a healthier, prosper place to be, to live in.
That's something that you and I have talked about. These young people moving in town, they're creating things in their mind, the way they'd like to see it. But Celine and I have benefited from that. The inn is beautiful, and it's two sisters taking turns running a family business. This woman, Kat, her family are the Keegans, and they own the old publishing company, and she's taken the back part of that and put art in there, has entertainment. Jeremy, whose last name I can't remember, but he owns the pub. He's a graduate of Kutztown High School, and his father or stepfather owned that building, and he's redone that. And then Matt Lindenmuth, who everybody knows, started the craft brewery business, and we now have a new restaurant out in the old car dealership on 222.
The other thing I want to mention, that was, before we forget, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, that's good.
Is we have also mindfulness center with Tamu, and I think like I would address to her, thanks for being here, thanks for acting and be brave enough to say this is who I am, and I offer that to this community because I believe in go within before to do anything else, and she's promoting that. She's she helps people to be more aware, be more mindfulness, and she I think is a beautiful soul, beautiful person, and it enhances Kutztown to my point of view. But I think it's universal. It's not saying it's a typical type of religion. It's not that. It's harmonic touch in this town, and it's very important. So from any size, it's either from church, community, or just people volunteering, people that just want to be kind and care and give time to each other, to the community. That's how we become stronger and prosper.
You know, and you made me think of something too. At present, the leaders in this town are the kind of people that are approachable. They have the town at heart. Sandy Green's going out as the mayor. She's accomplished a ton, and Jim Schlegel's coming in, and you know, he's a Kutztown person through and through, been here his whole life. I also like the fact if you're organizing something, like Celine and I are organizing something for the kids, and it would relate to something that we need to clarify with the borough, you can always walk in Adam and Eve and just ask Kevin, who's the borough council president, and instead of getting, well, we have a meeting on the 11th, if you come, you can address that to the board. He will tell you right out, that's a good thing. Do come on the 11th. We've talked about that before. I don't know that, you know, that's going to float. You can always run an idea by him, by Sandy, and the school board we have at present. You know, people that really care about the kids, and I can't imagine making the decisions they have to make because of, you know, the financial climate in Pennsylvania and everything.
Right.
But I like that idea that walking down the street, you come upon Sandy Green, and you get the time of day plus if that's what you need. There are places where you could live and everything's very formal. You see some of the townships around here kind of tearing themselves apart because of issues. And it always occurred to me that if they just all sit in the same room and relax, you get things done. I've been able to do a lot of the things that I've done in the town or with the Kutztown Strong Kids because the people in the community that are the officials have backed us in that. They figured out a way, for example, we could use the park. And they even asked us, now you're going to use the park again. They accommodated us there. They even changed some of the electrical arrangements so that we could do the kind of things we wanted to do. They've cleared the way for things on Main Street and helped us through that stuff, which can be a very difficult process. Main Street is part borough and part state road, so you have to know how to negotiate all those agencies. They've always facilitated that. I mean, the other day I got an email from the borough manager saying, are you going to do this again this year? Because we have some ideas. I just thought that was wonderful.
Cool. The other place I want to mention is Secondhand. No, not Secondhand.
Second Nature.
Second Nature is a health food store in town, and each time, I learn a lot from them about health. I already do my own research because I'm always reaching for cues or tip to be healthier and stronger. But that place is a great place to go to. They know a lot and people are great. And yeah, bravo to this business. And of course Adam and Eve. So we have the clothing place that is really, I love going there. It's a great store. You find unique stuff. And we don't have a whole lot of business that you can go, that's the only clothing business here. I believe in Kutztown, right? And so Second Nature, the health food store, and Adam and Eve for clothing. And yes, and Tam, who I always forget how she named her center, but she also promotes health. She does reflexology, reflexology, massage, and she educates a lot about how to feed yourself too. It's all about body and mind, right? Be healthy, happy, and yeah.
The other thing to talk about, stories.
And we have the liquor store too.
Yeah.
We like
Turn
drink
it off.
our little wine. Hey, I mean,
You do not.
I do, but I'm
It's
very.
on the front page.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
It's being perfect is being who you are, and be respectful of yourself and others. And I'm not playing a game. I'm being myself, and let's all do that. Let's all try to be authentic. So I don't have anything to hide, but I'm doing my best to be healthy, sane, and far away from being perfect, but that's being perfect, right? In your imperfection, forgot how the little slogan goes
Perfect in your
about
own
that.
perfections.
Yeah. So basically, this little town has nice, different little point of a star that you can have a decent and happy life.
Yeah. The other thing is to address. So we first came here. One that our family had been here before, and our children started going to Kutztown School District. So at first I'm looking at that as an outsider. Wasn't coaching, wasn't doing anything, and impressed with the education the kids get. But being a coach, this place always has these young people that are very good athletes, small collection of them, and then all the supporting athletes that are dedicated to what they do. And to me, a school this size has success in very interesting ways. And I've said that to my brother when I go home and we sit and talk. So the place always has athletes, always has athletes. I mean, we're seeing it in all the sports. The other thing about them that surprised me when I did start coaching is, especially in cross country, as a retired college professor, you're going, what is your decision? What will you do next year? Is it university? Is it trades? Is it the military? And a lot of the kids are saying, well, I'm going to go to college. I'm like, oh, that's good. And then I start talking to them, and our students here and their academic success allow them to choose colleges and universities that are some of the best there are. And I've always been impressed with that. I had an experience. A young lady comes up to me, and I know her family and everything, and I kind of thought she was a kid that would be going down the trades route. So what are you going to do next year? She said, well, I'm applying to college. I said, great. I didn't know her academics, and she was applying to Dickinson, Penn, and Bryn Mawr. And then I found out, what she really aspires to and what her grades were. Stunned by that. Last year, we had 3 of our graduates in Penn, University of Pennsylvania, 1 in graduate school and 2 undergraduates. So I'm really impressed with that, and I think it's a thing that should be documented. The kids in the school have a lot of different successes. I've had 3 young men, including our son, that we know that have gone into the military and done great things. Kids that go into the trades. But it's always impressed me. I very rarely in the sports I coach have more than maybe 1 or 2 kids in academic difficulty. And again, this cross-country team and where they're considering going and what they want to study, biomedical engineering, whatever it is, a lot of computers, German scholar, person wants to be a German scholar. That has always impressed me. It's important to me too. As a coach, really as a retired professor, that academics have to come first, and our kids do so well. Credit to the school itself. And I'll be honest, this is a good thing. I'm a product of a Catholic school education, boys Catholic school. That's what I went to. My brother did. My sisters went to a girls' Catholic school. So, and everybody we know did that. And I send my kids to a public school. Nobody ever talked to me about it. I come back from Canada, and friends of ours are sending their kids to Berks Catholic, and they go, "You're Catholic, why aren't your kids going to Berks Catholic?" I said, "Why would I do that?" They said, "Well, Kutztown." I said, "You know, you're missing something. You need to come and see." And one of my majors was I went to a musical performance at Berks Catholic, and I, of course, know these here. They didn't remotely compare. So, you know, I was very pointed about that you folks that don't want to send your kids to a public school are missing something here in this district. Even Mom was like, at 90-some, "Oh, you're going to send them now?" And of course, my sister, my youngest sister, was the first one to break the mold and send her kids to Cumberland Valley. And we both said, you know, it's a matter of what you want to do, but I'm very happy here, and I think that's, again, community. People up the street moved here. Why did you pick here? Well, we heard about the schools. We heard about the schools. The realtor told us about the schools. The couple from Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think that's something you don't forget. And of course, it's kids interviewing us. So.
I don't know if you'd be comfortable doing this. I have some kids coming in. If I would leave, would you mind answering this question without me here?
Mm-hmm.
Would that be too awkward?
No, we'll argue about it. That'll be fun.
We'll talk about you.
But my question is, so we talked a lot about, you know, what Kutztown is and somewhat of where we've been and where we are. If you could foresee into the future, you know, any challenges that you believe might exist for the town. You had mentioned, you know, the older population.
Mm-hmm.
How do we refill Kutztown?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but so challenges or redefining, we're defining for the future. So thinking of where Kutztown has been, where Kutztown is, and then challenges and possible changes into the future.
Yeah.
Great.
And I
love that one.
Just to lead into that, I see that as one of the key points that people that are in different nonprofits and the borough itself is addressing. Like, what are the challenges? And I've been sitting in on meetings, and it seems to me very clear what they're talking about. So we'll get that down for you.
Okay.
You know,
Cool.
And then Celine's prospect on that, the way she sees the world. You know, we talked about that earlier. We're losing a couple of businesses that are dear to our heart. We've lost one already. So how does that make you feel? Because you're used to being in this environment that's all what you want it to be. And those people were close friends. You know, in both cases. Mom is still with us, but Maria is just close to us. And then Jackie and daughter, Sean, was, you know, irreplaceable in our minds. And there's a nice bookstore in there now, but the bookstore had to move from somewhere. And what moved in from the bookstore, just to us, isn't appropriate for a Main Street. It doesn't resonate. So I think that's one of the things.
Well, it's full of opportunity, challenge, but always opportunity. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
We'll talk more.
Yeah.
Details.
Well, we can make this go. I'll give it from my perspective, and then you do yours. And
Okay.
then we're going to start Christmas shopping. It'll be fun.
All right. All right.
Cleaning the house.
When you're done, you can push the off button.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I might be held up in the other meeting, so I don't know if I'll see you.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's
Have a
okay.
good holiday.
Thank you, you too.
Yeah,
Thanks
to you.
for
Yeah,
your
thanks
for coming
patience.
in.
Yeah. And if you
Happy
need any help
holidays.
with this, like if you're busy,
I'll let
If
you
you
know.
need me to sit somewhere, or you're close to a deadline and little pieces need to be done,
Yeah,
I can give you a hand with it.
okay.
I'm sure you'll manage it, though.
I'll let you know.
Yeah.
If I don't see you,
I'm happy
no
over
hug.
Christmas too.
Happy holiday.
Happy holidays.
Thanks for everything you
To
do.
have room to
Thank
breathe.
you.
Yes.
Appreciate you.
Yes.
Yeah, to get away and actually sort this out and
Mhm.
work on it some. And
Yeah.
so I'll let you know where we are at the end of the break.
The other thing, I mentioned this to Celine too, like if there's a picture or two missing,
Yeah,
we love
right.
taking pictures
Right.
anyway, we can go out and grab that.
And I might give you a list at some point.
Yeah.
Because like you mentioned in the van, you know, to those things that people have talked about and putting pictures
Yeah.
into the profile, so.
That it would make it really cool that.
Yep.
I love reading articles that they show you this thing and then
Yes.
you're not reading
Yep.
blind.
Okay.
So we'll do that.
Thank
Have
you.
a beautiful
Yeah.
day.
You too.
Yeah.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Thanks
Take
again.
care.
So I'll start and then you wanna, about the challenges facing Kutztown.
Well, I'm writing little keywords here because I
Yeah, that's fine.
can get lost.
Mhm.
I can get
Just
lost.
slide over a little bit.
No, no, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
you-
just,
you're
it's
good
not,
where you-
is
the
it
thing was-
taping right now?
Blinking, I'm not sure.
Was it on?
It's on, it's good.
Is it battery?
No, the battery's good. I don't know, it should be okay.
All right.
Okay.
I think we're
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
So-
take care.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna talk.
Well, we're waiting for the kids to come.
No.
Oh.
Remember, he said we're supposed to do this on our own.
Oh, okay.
So I'll go first and that gives you a
Yes,
chance. all right?
yes.
To me, right now, there are some clearly defined challenges facing Kutztown, and one of them is getting stability in the businesses on Main Street. That meaning that when a space is available, a business space, a building is available, that there would be a business that comes in that is there for the long term, has a solid business model, and provides something truly needed in the town. Right now, there are businesses that have a tendency to come, last 4 or 5 months, and then leave. So people in the town are talking about stabilizing Main Street and attracting things that would make for a vibrant Main Street. That's one big thing. The other thing that's slowly happening is there's a lot of real estate on Main Street that has been converted to student housing, and the university's population is down by a bit over the past 3 or 4 years, and there are also around the university and on campus there have been a lot of more modern apartments with more amenities built. So the ability to rent some of the spaces downtown is falling by the wayside. So a discussion is what becomes of these places that used to be residences and that are now student housing. So I think one of the things that will be essential in the future of Kutztown is the possibility of repurposing those places into private housing, apartments, senior homes, something like that, but I see that as a challenge. The third thing in my mind that is something for the future is attracting and allowing young people to move into the town and exist here vibrantly with good schools, the things that are attractive on Main Street, chance for young families to thrive in the town. I think that would be the other thing. And then, of course, just the maintenance of everything that's beautiful in Kutztown, I think will be a factor. But the idea of a stable set of businesses on Main Street, repurposing some of the available real estate, and attracting young people would be the three things.
Well, I see the potential of this town becoming like an alternative place to live. And I mean by that a healthy place, artistic place to be, the part of the nature, the, how can I say, inspiring place to be, to live in. A place where you can develop yourself. Develop a potential of be at ease and a self-confidence, loving person. So it's all, that's my philosophical point of view, that you can build out of that whatever you want from the moment you're in your best self. And so from different contribution from people in town, body and mind center, physical activity place, nature paths, alternative health, and of course the traditional medicine. I believe in the two combined together. We have, we go to Missing Spring Health Center, and they offer great treatment. So we need to combine forces from all different angles. New Age, or I don't know if it's still correct to talk about, use this term, but put the old, ancient, or traditional and combine them together and be strong, be healthy, be at our best version. And I'm looking for Kutztown becoming an ideal place to come and live at peace, at ease, and prosper, all different talents. But I can see the art, and why not business? We have the university, could be a very vibrant place, beautiful town, again, great nature. It could be really lovely to be here.
Celine brings up a good thing that we hadn't discussed yet, and that's the prominence of Kutztown as an arts place, a place for artists of all types. The prominence of the university's art program allows for a number of artists to live in the area, and a number of people in the town, especially young people who are aspiring artists, to attend the university. So the idea in the future of maximizing the pool of artists, the artist community, and weaving that in to the nature of life in Kutztown, I think, is an important thing. And in closing, the other thing that I keep hearing people downtown talk about in terms of the future of Kutztown is making Kutztown a destination. In that sense, it has a vibrant Main Street, it's centrally located, and has a university. So making it a place in the future that people would want to come for events, to live, to study, to learn, to worship, is one of the key aspects of Kutztown moving ahead in the future.
And of course, Kutztown, Pennsylvania in general, but the agriculture, we have fields, and hopefully organic is more what's going on here, because it's the way to go, healthier life, and be more connected with the earth. And we have Rodale's that world famous. I mean, this, we never talk about it, but Rodale is key element.
That's a good point. We haven't talked about the fact that part of Kutztown is a vibrant agricultural community.
Yes.
We still have family farms. We have young people that attend the high school whose family are involved with farming and who aspire to be farmers in the future. And like Celine said, we have a very large school district, and much of it is open fields, farms, and beautiful forests. So it's an aspect we can't forget. It's a duality. It's a very vibrant small town with a large area of